It says we're live on Facebook. Good afternoon. It is Monday, May 24th, the glorious day of my 51st birthday. I'm loving it. Okay. And their Facebook is happy. I got to make it public. The glorious day of my 51st birthday. Let me get rid of that and then we'll go back. Okay, here we go. I don't know why it does that. I'll find a way to make that not happen anymore. So I have the lovely Anya on my probably right, and you got Paul here on the left, and it looks like it is, yes, it's working on Facebook. So Anya and I were just having a little discussion about the family dynamics that showed up this weekend in all of our worlds and the work we've been doing at a kind of a 5D level of dismantling family dynamics, the codependency that's underneath. And we just kind of coined it that anybody that's working at this level right now is unwinding soul contracts at the lineage level where darkness has agreed to come through certain experiences and other things. And it's a codependent thing that's hanging on to everybody in our family. And people don't even know it. It's considered love when parents don't deal their stuff, and then they project certain beliefs and things that make them feel safe that aren't really universal truths onto other people. And then they take their beliefs, COVID's a really good one of them right now, and they'll project those fears madly onto you to get you to stop awakening and stop unraveling the lineage trauma that's been going. And to be really fair to the people involved, because these are our parents and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and all these kind of things, they didn't even have a chance. It was part of lineage for the last 100 generations. We're cleaning up the last 10 for sure, but things like rapes that happened or all these incests, all these dark things, murders that weren't even talked about, or people were codependent in the family, or you could have been lesbian or homo, whatever. All these things were hidden in the darkness, and they basically cringed onto everybody, and it forced a perversion of reality, of what's true, of what's good, of what's bad, because all these things were never spoke of. Just as simple as that. And nobody did anything bad. Nobody's to blame. I'm going to basically say that things like rapes or things that childhood rapes and stuff like that were all energies that had to continue to propagate. Maybe they came from the mother and they got handed down to the child, and because the child didn't know any better, we didn't know we had a choice. Same with things like our young men, making them very heart-centered or whatever, but hooking into them because maybe the relationship wasn't going well, or other things, mother to husband or whatever. All these things are the unsaid little secrets that we all have as our families, and they eat us alive slowly over time because nobody's ever really dealt with them, because they didn't know how, they didn't have somebody that could hold space for them, etc. So they're programmed into their children without even knowing before the age of 8. And then we're left with this confusion as an awakening individual as to why we have certain beliefs, or why the easiest example is like somebody that blames themselves all the time and is really emotional. Their children will turn to be very supportive and will fall back every time emotion is expressed or whatever, and they're not rationalized, or they're easily triggered by emotion. So all of a sudden they'll pull off, which makes a space for not healing something that should have been talked about. So there's not bad in any of this. It's just cleaning up the lineage is what I'm feeling for me. Anya can comment on hers. I'll give her in 2 seconds here. So the key is, it's not blame. It's just a pattern that's been handed down, and we're cleaning it up. Don't feel bad about cleaning up. Don't feel bad about talking to your experience, because a lot of parents and other people will not want us to ever talk about those things that are supposedly the family's darkness or secret or whatever, because it might mean that they have to go back and open that shell a little bit and then start looking at whys of behavior and other things. And some people may be at an age where they really don't want to clean it up. That was just the contract that they had. So we have to, as the person that's awakening, be okay with cleaning it up for ourselves and only ourselves. So Anya had some beautiful experiences. Go ahead and let's hear from your side.
Thank you. I'm not sure that they were beautiful, but it is what it is.
You're better after.
Woo! For me, what came up for me over the weekend was I said yes to visiting my sister with my parents. And the moment I got into the car, my dad had mentioned how now on the airplanes, you are not only required to wear your mask, you have to wear it in between bites. So if you're eating a sandwich or a snack or whatever, you have to take a bite, put your mask back on, chew, and repeat the process. And all I said in a very calm, neutral way was, that's crazy. That's what they're making you do now. And that was enough of a trigger for my mom to go off on me, and not even the opinion that I had shared, but attack me and my character. Oh, what she ended, like I was and then instead of like going into a back and forth of you're right, you're wrong loop, because I would have just exhausted everyone's energy, and we were stuck in a car for like 40 minutes together. So I just stopped it before it got any worse.
Mhm.
But she was all I said was that, and she just went crazy. It was enough to trigger her into going full hysteric on me, and like she has a lot of rage,
Mhm.
and that poured out immediately. And she was telling me that she told me that she has a lot of pain for me. I forgot to share that
For
before.
you. Okay.
I didn't even go into that, but she was so hysterical. She's like, I have a lot of pain for you. And I was like, okay. And the other thing she said was, why do you always have to be so rebellious? You think you know everything. You think you know more than the world, blah, 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 blah. And just attacking me on that level, when all I simply stated was how I felt about eating a sandwich with your mask on.
Mhm.
And it was just like, it just made me think about the conditioning that she had, living in communist Russia, where there was like this true dictatorship. And this is no big deal to her compared to what it was like in Russia. So this is like a field day for her. Like, it's fine, she'll obey the laws, but it just like brought up a lot of her crazy programming while, being subservient to that regime and system.
Does that feel like conditional love from a parent?
Yeah, because I'm not being a nice girl following the rules and being meek and staying quiet. And
And in her culture, would there be a lot of browbeating and elbowing going to the mother of the child that was not complying in Russia to get you to change?
yeah, like for them, like it would be unheard of to defy their parents. So like I am considered very disrespectful because I say how I feel, and that is very shocking to them.
But is there even any family that would witness you in this way in North America now? Like in Russia, it would be different. All eyes would be on and everybody. So really, it's a mechanism that's protecting of something that doesn't even exist here in North America, does it?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
And was that rage really at you, or was that rage at herself for not being allowed to be free as you are, and all this hurting?
That's exactly what it is. It's her own pain.
Hmm. There's
Um,
comments coming up. Thank you
what
for
are
the happy
the
birthdays, Wilma and Bonnie. Thank
happy
you. Yeah.
birthday?
So she's
Yeah,
projecting on you. Now unwind it, because we're looking at the dirty underbelly of every mother daughter dynamic of all of it. It's like she had to be that way, so should you have to be that way?
yeah,
Okay, and you're not. And
yeah.
she's making a condition and all the anger. I'm holding so much pain for you. Why is she holding anything for you?
Fuck if I know, but like it was just made no sense. I was like, what pain are you holding for me? I don't give a fuck.
Mhm. So you should be hurt and wounded. So literally she's holding her pain that she was trying to transpose onto you, and you're not being a good daughter by taking it.
Exactly. And then after we got out of the car, like I wear my feelings on my sleeves. Like I don't know how to hide them. And so like, I'm making a face at her, and then she's like, commenting on my face. And I was like, yeah, because you hurt my fucking feelings. And like, she has never been in the wrong. I don't think she's ever apologized to any of us for any of her missteps at all. But
she's
and I was,
still living a pattern that was required, that you've broken out of. In her life, it was required. In yours, you've said no.
yeah. And um I forgot where I was going with this.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But just so out of touch with reality of the current situation, because she's so in her own patterns. And just like then proceeded to attack my sister because she thinks my sister isn't feeding her kid. But that's funny because my mom had those same attacks happen with me, because people are like, you're not feeding her enough. And so it's just, she's just projecting that same shit onto my sister. So she just insults everyone and like thinks it's normal, and she's just not aware. And I was trying to explain to her, you weren't attacking my opinion, you were attacking me as a person. And she just doesn't comprehend that.
So, okay, let's conjecture 2 points and then you comment on them. So one, this is coming up for her because the old pattern is trying to live out and you guys aren't fitting it anymore, which is causing a cognitive dissonance or whatever. So what was in it for you and what was in it for her to separate them so that you can better be aware of the gift?
The gift for me, just to see that I have my own power and I can say no instead of dragging something on to try to make myself feel right, to just put it stop to it and then put a fucking hard boundary next time.
Right. And by letting her sit in that energy is just propagating the old energy. So are you giving her a gift by giving a boundary now?
Yes.
It's huge. It's hard, scary as hell. But how's she going to stop projecting unless you guys reject it?
Exactly.
So she needs to take it on, which is going to be hard because it's lineage trauma and there's a whole freight train behind her. So in some ways you're taking on the piece and dissolving it. So it's not like give it all back to her because she may not be capable of taking it all. But do your piece, heal it all the way up the lineage, and then figure out what piece she's willing to accept so that she can process her 10% or whatever it is that she came here to do.
Sure. Yeah. But like, even like, oh God, like I feel like my dad had married his unfinished business. And I could
very much so. Yeah.
So evident in their relationship. Like I didn't know my grandparents too well, and I obviously didn't know his dynamic with them, but I could evidently see that anytime he was trying to be an individual, he would just get screamed at. And that happens today. It's like I asked my mom twice, what time are you going to be home? Because I'm going to order sushi for everyone. And like, she doesn't have a concept of being on time for other people. Like that's been always a thing. And that's why I tried to have her stick to her word this time. And she still didn't. And I was like, you know what, Dad, we're not going to wait for her. We had this agreement. We spoke for it. We're not going to sit here and wait another 40 minutes while we have this food that I just bought us. And he was so afraid to do it because he thought she was gonna bark at him, but because she's done that in the past. And I was like, no, Dad, just sit fucking down and eat this goddamn sushi. And he like did timidly a little bit, but he would like call her until she would answer to get permission. And it was just so sad. And I was like, Dad, just enjoy it. Like, she knows the deal.
So, but do you think your mother trained him into that, or it came from his mother in the first place?
I don't know. A mixture of both. like I think my father was very afraid of defying those orders.
I think it starts with the mother. And
Yeah.
then I can speak, my ex-wife is a lot like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Similar abuses, similar things that happened in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and similar reluctance to look at them when exposed. And then I had to consciously make the choice. It was far easier with my ex-wife than it was with my mother, because you're afraid you're going to hurt them, and you're afraid you're not going to honor them, and you want to please your parents. And there's all these inner fucked upnesses that go with being a little boy that's been trained into this, because you don't even have conscious awareness of when you're kowtowing and when you're being afraid. Like your dad, he goes into his little boy every time that your mother may be angry, and you can see it. You can see the little boy and all those kind of things. He hasn't healed through it.
No.
But it's really not our place to deal with it, or force them to find different. Our only place is right here. It's like, okay, my little boy and I got a really deep relationship this weekend. It was hard and it was scary as hell. But I will tell you, we don't even realize it, but these incidents that happen, it programs us to be in fight or flight all the time. And our parasympathetic nervous system is constantly waiting for something bad to happen. When we have this codependency in our background, it's not even aware. But when your caregiver's nervous system goes haywire and we're looking to them for safety, guess what? We have absolutely no control of our nervous system and how it goes haywire, because our lover or our partner or our mother or our father can go haywire, and we're instantly in fight or flight. That happens now with authority figures, with law, with government, with all this kind of stuff. It's designed very clearly, until you go inside and you say, okay, my safety is mine. My warrior is going to sit here and is going to protect that little boy to the death. And that doesn't mean hurting other people or whatever. It's what you said, strong boundaries. Boom. And I told you, maybe it might be a good thing to have just in that moment say, fuck you. Where do you get off projecting that on me? Bottom line. And then they're just like, what just happened? Tilt, system shut down, core dumped, because that's what they needed. They weren't even consciously aware. That's why I have so much trouble talking about it, because it just gets the blame going. It's not their fault. It's not even our fault. It was built in far before we even came here. It got inserted in your nervous system before you were 8 years old. It's your subconscious program that you don't even know is replaying in your life, that fucks up all your relationships and your ability to feel safe.
Yes.
Now we're consciously aware of it. We're seeing it happen in slow motion in front of us, and we're like, what the fuck just happened? And you're just like, oh, my mother did something that did this thing to me, and I'm a little conscious child right there. All of a sudden, why? And then you're just like, what the fuck was that? And then your subconscious program is like, in the light, good luck, don't do that to me again. A lot of people are going through that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And all you can have is loving respect for yourself. And sometimes it's loving boundaries, like, fuck you, we're not going to go there ever again. Stop now, which will put them in tilt. And that's probably all that was needed to disconnect from you. And going forward, it just won't even come to that point, because you've made a choice for you. Yes. Where before it was unconsciously a choice to please them or to make mom and dad happy or those things. And your father's in it too, right? I even think sometimes my father gets stuck in that sometimes too, because it's like when that figure is there and they're unhappy all the time or whatever, sometimes you just gotta, as a little boy, I just learned to lay over on my back like this and let any woman do whatever the hell they wanted. As soon as they believed that I did something wrong, or that relationship that happened last week, I saw myself. It was just like my tummy was, I had exposed, and it's like, I'm sorry, I did this thing to you. And I was like, not ever going to happen a fucking again, because that's not what they want. It's like a test to see if you're going to fold. What they really want is somebody's going to stand up and say, what the fuck are you doing right now? We're not going to have this conversation. Let's get it all in the light, have a discussion about what's really going on, not blaming me or finding some excuse to run away. What do you want? And then it'll be like, oh, whoa, somebody saw through. And then that's her pattern replaying of non-trust of men and all this kind of stuff. And how do you find a man that's going to have that ability to frame so that you can now look at your shit underneath, right? Your mother was giving an ability to frame, to see underneath. It's happening all over the place. It's not the world exploding and we losing experiences with our parents or whatever. It's us seeing in the light what's going on underneath so we can make choices from us rather than trying to please.
Yes,
And
them.
we die every time when it's not for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't make them happy either, because they didn't get happy because of themselves. They got happy because somebody complied.
Because they sucked someone's energy out.
Absolutely.
Oh, she is the most biggest energy sucker I've ever met.
Is she evil though, or is that the darkness underneath that's caused her to be that way? She doesn't even get the energy. She gets enough to feel a little bit safe, but the rest goes into the darkness.
Exactly.
Because the darkness, that's all it does. It sucks our sexual energy. It affects our relationship. Can you imagine how much of your sexual relationship is your mother's attachment than yours?
God.
It's sickening.
Yeah, it is. It
Because
is.
the darkness needs that sexual energy. It's not your mother's perverted and really goes on that. No, she's just permitted it through because that was normal for all mothers to be. And now we're propagating it by being children.
Yeah, and it's just her wounded inner child with lots of misplaced anger, whatever.
And as a percentage of the population, how many people would you say are fully matured adults in all levels? Pretty small number.
I'll say 50% because there's 50% of securely attached people.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say it's less than 5% are the people that that have dealt with all their shit.
Wow.
It's so ingrained in every facet of reality, even bosses, even relationships, even lovers, even mother to daughter and child. It's a codependence that's in everything. As the minute you become a member of society, look at all the rules. The Russian society is like, daughters do this and the mother gets elbowed if she doesn't do that, and she's carrying all the pain because the daughter wasn't good and she must have done a bad job. Look at that when it goes to anything. It's like, go to school and get a good job. Oh, you're going to be a lawyer. Oh, you make me so proud. Oh, I got some status from you going up. It never ends, the things that we give to try and please.
Yeah, and it's just like this weird relationship, like I guess for Russians, like follow obeying orders.
Can you imagine if you're a Muslim girl instead of a Russian girl? How would that be different?
Oh god.
It's even less. You're smaller. An Indian woman. Look at the level of rights that get pushed down. A Russian woman is a strong, carry the wood on her back and suckle the baby on her breast at the same time. So that's a picture. But these other countries where the woman can't even show anything other than her eyes or her hair or her foot.
Yeah.
That's a suppression that's come based on different religions, different societal understandings.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some that even go against men in some ways. I would project that North American men are, the women call them pussies or whatever, but they've got so soft and so feminized that we're like cattle sometimes.
Yeah.
And women are being powerful and they're in their feminist role and they're priestesses and they're goddesses and all this kind of stuff. And then they ask why the men aren't there anymore. We're trying to comply to fit something that's impossible because we can't be any less masculine when the woman's more masculine than us.
Yeah, we talked about this a while back, but just how the roles kind of became inverted.
Mm-hmm. And men chose it. We wanted it. We wanted women to have the power and see how it felt and realize that the patriarchy isn't all us decimating everyone. It's all about power and other things, and that can be a woman or a man. Women have way more power than they'll ever admit to in a household where they thought they were patriarchally challenged around sexuality, of who controls what, how the children are raised, certain things. Women had a shitload of power. It might not have been in the workplace or in the law office or whatever, but they did have power. They just didn't acknowledge it because it was more quietly engaged, right? it's being a president of the United States versus a mom with 5 kids that made them all go through and really heart-centered and loving children at the end. That's huge accomplishment on the role more of a feminine kind of nurturing kind of thing, which couldn't be done by a man in the same way, I don't think.
Mhm.
So,
Well, let's just jump to your side of the underbelly.
well, I don't want to really get into all the things that have been happening with my parents and all that kind of stuff. We talked today. It was like everything was right back to normal, and we hadn't had any discussions or fights. But I took it as I'd done my work because I spent this whole fucking weekend just going deep and loving my little boy, understanding all this codependency and why it was there, and I've been setting really strong boundaries for myself. So I took it as this is the simplest way to proceed forward, is now a clear understanding, and I set some clear boundaries after we talked, and they wished me happy birthday and all those things, and it was beautiful, and I told them I love them and I still love them. I just said from now on, if there's going to be a commitment to meeting or coming or anything, you guys got to acknowledge your fears before we even start. And if you say you're going to do it and then you stop, it's hurting the trust of me and my children.
Yeah.
And that's how simple it has to be. And that's all I asked. There was no yelling. There was no what the hell's wrong with you or whatever. It was just Lori Ladd did a beautiful thing. It'll be on my timeline soon on the weekend about sitting in your higher self. And I felt that. It was just like I was sitting in my higher self, and then they phoned, and there's a whole bunch of things that were bubbling, but my higher self didn't feel those. It was just like, I love you. This is how it is. This is how I felt. This is how all the things were, and let's proceed. So rather than getting into all those kind of details, it's just like I'm on a path that needs to be free of all those codependencies, and I need to speak of it, teach of it, shine it for everybody. And to sit and hold hooks back, I could look and say, okay, my whole life was messed up by all these codependent things that my lineage caused to me, not just something that my parents' fault was or whatever, they weren't strong enough. No, it's none of that. It was so fucking strong. I'm surprised that I'm even aware of any of this stuff, because the hold is like a stranglehold around you all the time. You will not find this out. You will continue to be this way, because that's how the darkness wins and feeds. I'm fully freed from the darkness, and I'm now choosing difference. So now my connections, my relationship, I as part of my beautiful birthday notes, a young woman offered a prayer for me in her meditation. And I responded back and I said, I would love to be more approached by the beautiful divine feminine with more depth and intimacy and connection going forward, because my last so many years of my life were from that attached, codependent kind of way. I want more to be from innocence, purity, fun, and play. And that feels so poignant inside. It's just like this drop of purity goes into my soul and it radiates out, and that's what I'll magnetize back, because I couldn't possibly see it. I felt every woman had an agenda underneath in any kind of love they would give me, because that's how all my love has been so far, because I wasn't aware of that codependency that was going on.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it was taught to us. Like there was always an agenda to, okay, if I do this, I'll get this reaction, which will feed whatever missing thing in me.
And a lot of times the receive was very small because they weren't capable of giving more. They had so much wound, or the dark was latching in and taking everything that was coming. So the expectation to be received in balance became a wound that self-propagated, where now it's like, okay, all this shit is pushed out, and I can feel me and what I deserve and what's right and what's loving. And I project out that peaceful love that I can feel it. It's just like a ting tone off a little metal bell or whatever. It just goes out, and then it comes back in, and it brings back in that purity of that tone, rather than the frequency that's all mangled up with codependency and fear and all that kind of stuff. And I have shifted very deeply in what I would teach now, that this understanding attachment theory and understanding family dynamics is key before you heal any wound ever. Because if you have this, you can't love yourself first. It's stuck. It's like the minute you talk to that other person where you've been programmed this thing, you are automatically in this state. And until you become aware of it, your self-love is always like, it would come in the top of my head and then it would go out to those people before I'd get any of it back, and almost all of it was gone because that wound was there. And then I couldn't speak about it because there was like strangle around my neck, and my heart constantly had this, I don't know what, like a funnel that went over it, and it went out to feed the other people's codependency.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes brothers and sisters, and it's all unaware stuff. Like, to even talk about it would make them mad because they're not aware of it, and that's not their intention in any way, shape, or form. But there's something underneath that was never healed for everyone, and it goes way up the chain. So now when I can love, like, it's the most serene gift that I can have, because now when I love, it's for me first and always. And then like that pure tone goes out. It's like I've got my bell upstairs, but it goes like ting, and it just whistles out, and you can feel it. I'll go get the bell before we finish because I want everybody to hear it. But that's how much of the love that you feel back from a lover or your parents is that pure in its frequency. It's all heavy and blah, is the way I kind of feel that energy, because there's other stuff in it.
Yeah, it's like manipulation guised under the form of love.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to get that bell. Is there something you want to speak about or get started on? And I'll get the bell. That'll take me 30 seconds.
Well, I was just going to point out like that it makes sense why we needed to have those dysfunctional.
Absolutely. You cannot exist in 3D reality and please people, or you as the rebel shows up.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Because you are fighting that dissonance, like bad dissonance in your love. Because of what? What's it causing inside you? Can you be pure? Can you be, how long do you have to spend with the wizard before it wears off when you go back into your reality, right? Maybe speak about that experience today.
Oh, I met this wizard a few weeks ago, and I see him on Mondays, and he's probably like in his 70s or so. But every time I meet with him, like I just feel so much more grounded, and just I like listening to older people and like their wisdom. So I just like spend the time just like hearing him speak about whatever and just take it all in. But I don't know how many times I would need to hang out with him before I like get over it. But I think people intersect in your life for however long they need to.
This is what I was talking about, by the way. I call them ting nas. Have you ever heard a set of these? Oh, they're beautiful. Just let me get them set up here. Feel that go right into your soul. Feel that as love. How does that feel in comparison to the love you're getting from your lovers, your parents, your
So
life?
pure.
They
So
are.
pure.
We'll do 3 total.
Okay.
Accept it into your heart. Let it fill you and feel that as like pure love. And they take a long time to kind of go off. Okay, last one.
Mm.
Now think of that as how love feels to you. How is love versus that?
Oh my gosh, that is like smooth compared to this like constant like complication or I don't know, like jab, like blah 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 control.
How pure and innocent is the love between you and your mother? Like the exact opposite, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much unsaid that requires either you to be happy, that no one ever will be happy because there's your conditions aren't even understood. That's what codependency is, as far as I'm concerned, is setting up a relationship with someone to get love without the terms being agreed.
Right. And it's, I guess, also different because there's not going to be any terms when you're a kid. Like, that's like your mom. Okay. And then,
Are you ever good enough?
nah, no, no,
And who can choose what's good enough?
only me, the experiencer.
Once you're fully aware. Because before it was like, oh, is mom smiling? Is she happy? Is her tone nice? Is she, can you imagine the million different things you're looking for that's a codependence
For
to
safe.
feel love and safety.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. And it's like, and like if mom was angry, it's like, oh my God, I did something wrong.
Mhm.
It was my fault when it had nothing to do with you or me
Or even her, she was replaying something from 3 generations back that she doesn't even consciously know and aware of. Is there stuff that you've done that you can't even say why you did it? All you knew is it felt visceral and you had to.
yeah, it was just like an automatic program.
Can you imagine how much subconscious flows through you that's darker than it needs to be, or is really visceral and biting to another person to get them under your control?
Yeah. I mean, I got it from my mom, like that viciousness.
Mm.
And like it took me so long to curb it.
Mm-hmm.
And like it'll flare up with my dad because I'm playing out their cycle.
And you know when he'll go on his back and go like this. And I bet you said it made your dad cry when you yelled at him before because you knew how to cut him down and stop him. Because that's his wound. We get really good at finding what other people's wounds are and exploiting them so that our wound won't be touched.
Yeah. I mean, he only cried because I finally told him how I felt. Like I wasn't like saying you bastard or anything like that. But like, oh gosh, like
But did he stand in his power in that moment? He just understood it and he took responsibility and fell back into that pleasing role.
yeah, yeah.
It's okay.
Uh,
I did that almost every time with almost every woman because I didn't know I even had the choice. And the flip side was the fucked up part is that's the very reason that they wanted to push me out of their life, because it was a test to see if I would stand up and be that power. And they're like, oh, you're a pussy. Because it's like I'm pleasing, but I didn't even know I was pleasing or why I was pleasing. Right. And I didn't even have a chance.
These are the games we play.
But it's constantly coaxing us. Why do you think we keep pulling those people into our life? It's constantly pushing us to become aware. Can you imagine our higher selves? They're just like, what the fuck? Are you going to choose that again? This is like the 15th time you've went into a relationship and you're being exactly the same way. Can't you see it? I can't shake you any harder. And you're just like, I'm a victim. I'm hurting. This keeps happening. And we give all our power away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
good.
So how do we get back to that pure tone of the bells in our love? You can even hear it just from picking it up. How much better does that feel in our body, in our mind, in our spirit? So take that and then side it up next to what you feel love is. Now, love has dissonance in it, but we've been taught love comes through pain and love comes through struggle and love comes through all these things, which is the noise that's over top. But underneath that love is shining into somebody's eyes, looking into them and saying, are you there? Can you come out and play? Can you say hi? But all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got to go to work. Oh, I got to be a good mom. Oh, I got to go do dishes. Oh, I got to whatever. Love becomes all mangled up. Now it's like, oh, meet me in between. when really we just got to step back and we got to be in absolute presence and we got to sit and breathe and then open your eyes and look at someone.
Yeah.
And then if you can get through all their body image and they're not worthy and stuff like that, you'll start to see this pinpoint glare of that heart. But body image is like, oh, what do they think of me? Oh, maybe am I fat? Oh, can they see my zit today? Oh, I didn't brush my hair. Oh, I didn't put an aftershave on or whatever. Look at all the noise. Where the noise is in the peacefulness of the body, the presence, being absolutely grounded, and then touching, and then feeling the tingle on the tips of the fingers. Are you in your fingers? Can you feel the tingle? And then you realize, oh, I've got to take a breath, get in my body. Oh, there's some tingle there now, and you can feel the sparks. That's the purity. So when do we take time with a lover to do that? It's like sit beside each other, have a couple of glasses of wine so we're a little out of our body, and then put our arm around and assume and hope and guess. It's like, fuck, I really want to kiss you, or I want to something. And now that's a spark that's coming from inside, and it's the passion of the pureness of desire rather than, oh, is she going to think I'm one of them, or am I going too fast? Or see how that's spoiled every single time. Once that mind gets in there, the purity and the sing goes away. So if we look underneath, we can see that purity of connection with our parents. They're always been our parents, and they came from their body and their DNA, and there's always those connections. But now take the dry erase marker and start whitening the board back up, because it's all black, filled with all the rules and all the stories and all the codependencies, and then find that line again and start to look inside and find out what's grandparents and all that kind of stuff. And then, okay, let's heal all this stuff. As you're pushing it off the dry erase board, imagine the dry erase brush is being into a Ziploc bag, and now you can throw that into a violet flame furnace, and all those things that said how you were loved, all of a sudden are gone. And then the purity, you see that big bright whiteboard with 3 little lines. There's one to your parents, each of your parents, and one to you, and maybe one down the middle, or maybe your brothers and sisters are on the edge. Can you imagine how pure, like those bells, that whiteboard is? Like my shirt. It's like, feel that energy then. Is that singing tone, the whiteness? That's light. So is love light? And you start to drill underneath, and wherever there's dark, wherever there's struggle, wherever it feels unhappy, wherever it feels heavy, wherever it feels makes you cry, is that light or dark? Erase the whiteboard in that spot. Okay, why do I need to have tears anymore? Because really it was my choice to go there, and my choice to be loved, my choice to be safe. And the more and more, can you imagine how many lines are into that line that's your pure line that really aren't even you, about how to love yourself and how to be safe? Just keep waiting or wiping. You're going to figure out those Ziploc bags are right full of black powders of the dry erase, and you're going to chuck them in the furnace. Because they didn't serve anybody. They not need to be honored for anybody. They don't need to be cleaned up. They don't need to be understood. Because can you imagine how darkness would twist everything just to get its way? It's not purity in there. It's like a black mass, like a tangled ball of yarn. Can you imagine what that would look like? And it's yarn that's like 900 years old, and it's all ratty and coming apart and unwinding and full of dust and dirt and prickles and all this kind of shit. That's what our connection to darkness is, because darkness was just feeding in any way that it could.
Yes.
Now, darkness cannot swallow pure light. It has to be twisted. And when darkness has pure light shined onto it, what happens?
It dissolves.
It's not darkness anymore. There's no shadow. There's nothing to hide in, because you got a flashlight and it's like, oh, what's going on in there? Oh, now I see. You're in trouble, because that's not going to work anymore. Isn't that how shining the light into darkness is?
Yes. It is.
So we're pure light. Imagine every time somebody calls you a rebel, calls you angry, calls you fucked up, they're scared of the light, because how much of their self-definition is based on that shadow and how they were wounded and how they're bad and
Story.
yeah, and how they're a victim and how they're fucked over and all this kind of stuff. Does their life mean anything the minute you let all those things go? They don't think so, but it's also the seed of all their discontent, every bit of unhappiness, sorry. So the minute light is shone in, though, you can't carry that load anymore of like, oh, I'm going to get a reward finally. It's been 50 years of my life and I had bad relationships all through because of all this stuff. Nobody's ever going to give you that reward. They're going to come and they're going to say, collapse that light and release it all. And then the rest of your life can be in light.
Oh man, the month of May was something else. I'm like, let's go
And
back.
we're not even done yet. Careful.
I
7 more
know.
days.
I know, and we have a lunar eclipse on Wednesday.
You sound with a tentative voice. Yikes. Well, when's the full moon? It's got to be in the next 2 or 3 days. What's that? Thursday?
It's on Wednesday with the lunar eclipse. Exactly.
I choose better. I choose to shine light into everything within my world.
Yes.
I don't know if you can notice the difference in me, but I can notice the difference in my inner child being happy now.
You actually seem a lot lighter and less bothered by those things that were going on. It seems like there was some resolution.
I had 51 years of grievances to bring up to somebody, and I wanted to be heard and all that kind of stuff. And they had to all collapse into nothingness because all it was a bunch of shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else, like the gift and the reward comes afterwards. It's not you're granted it and then all of a sudden everything gets better. No, you make a choice. And to carry that darkness or carry that unhappiness or not want to talk to people ever again or whatever, no one. It's like, would you punish a lost person? You've been off the trail for weeks. What the hell is wrong with you? And you're bad or whatever. No, you're going to give them a searchlight and say the exit is 1 mile west.
Yeah.
Go this way. And if they choose to or not,
It's up to them.
Their choice.
Yeah, very true. Oh God, I've been off of that path for a year.
No, you haven't. You saw it. You're seeing it. You're unwinding it every single day.
Yeah.
You're not lost. It's them that are lost.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know where this ends up. You know why. You know that there's good for both in a new choice. Don't you? Are you a rebel for no reason because you just like to hurt people and force them to look at their pain? No, it's like, I'm shining. Please, please, please. I'd love for you to come with me, but I don't have any choice. So maybe it's hurting you, but I would far prefer to at least give you a chance than to walk away.
Yeah.
And that's all you're doing. Is that pretty light? That's the hardest light of all, is to see somebody else and you know the path and the answer, and they won't listen because you scare the shit out of them. But when all you've known is dark or is stuck in the jungle canopy and you haven't even seen a spark of sunlight for 30 years and somebody's saying there's sunlight right here and it's right beside me, come stand beside me or whatever, they might be terrified. They might get burned. They would get a sunburn or.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had a little bit of a negative bout where I was like, why am I even here? I don't want to do this anymore.
All weekend.
Yeah.
This is fucking the hardest work that you will ever do because it makes you question every part of love, who you are, why you do things.
Why are you
question
here?
your parents and all this love that was supposedly so safe, and understand that there's better ways to see the world. There's better things without those wounds and other things that were carried. There's a different truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like we're disavowing their other truth or saying that that's bad or they should have done better or anything of the sort. No, we're all fucking learning, walking along right beside each other. And ultimately, can you see how dense this planet got because of all that? It's like in every fundamental piece of everything that we taught from the minute we emerged from the womb. Did we even have a chance? It's a miracle that I have this awareness, that you have this awareness, because How many percent of the population is talking at this level?
Slim.
Very small. And people want to know why we shine, why our eyes are bright, why we talk so positively all the time. And can you even see how much of a dark hole that we've been in and the stuff we walk through? It probably scared the hell out of people to even watch our videos and stuff, because we're talking about questioning our parents, questioning about family values and all these
structure.
The whole structure.
My friend brought up an interesting point, who's also a part of the same community as us, where he was like, this has kind of turned into an addiction at this point, like all of the work we're doing.
Everyone. Yep.
And that scares me too, because I'm like, it is an addiction. Like if I am yearning for something, I'll like go look at a Lori Ladd video, and then like I'll justify it by saying, well, it's giving me whatever I need, blah, blah, blah. But I have an addiction to this.
Okay, but are you getting lighter and lighter with each time?
Yes, I have an addiction to light.
No, I'd say you have an addiction to looking at your darkness so you can transmute it.
Right.
There's
Fair.
a thrill in that, and there's a depth in that other people see as suffering and pain and scares the shit out of them. You are going and fighting dragons every day of the week with just the clothes on your back. Other people see that as something dark or scary, because they would not for the first go in and look at those kind of things with the projection of light that we're giving for truth. It would scare them. It would say, okay, I'm not honoring my parents. Every rule you've ever been programmed with that's in your subconscious mind, we've had to look at. Yeah. Is that fun? Is that an addiction, or is that a want for truth and to love you?
It's a want for truth and love, but it's still like an addiction because I can't stop.
No, but what was the addiction that was underneath that? It was an addiction to love from your mom and nice praise and from your father.
Validation.
That's the addiction that I think you had, and you're actually unwinding that addiction by shining light on it.
Yeah.
I'd say we are adrenaline freaks or junkies a little bit, because we're knowing that there's the light, and the only path to better is to go into these dark spaces and look at things that are painful. Like, my body hurts all the time. You'd say, like, what the fuck? Am I just loving to hurt myself? No, we're not loving to hurt ourselves. We're fucking wanting more. We're dissolving the old patterns. Is that sound addictive? No, it's like staying in old patterns, and that kind of stuff is addiction.
That's true.
So addiction is an uncontrolled pull to do something to avoid something, usually. Are we avoiding anything? Fuck.
I mean, I feel like I'm avoiding 3D life.
But is there any way possible to live a 5D life fully immersed in 3D?
No.
So these are the last things that are hooking us into 3D before we step over, is what I feel.
Yeah.
Because you could not be codependent in 5D. It would fuck 5D up or people, and it would have become 3D again.
Yes.
So you're purifying yourself.
Yes.
What's left? So you're going to sit and you're going to keep comparing against this tone, a dual tone, and what's going on in your life. It's like, oh, something's off, something's dissonant. And that's COVID. That's all these other things that are all forcing us to choose something different, where that just feels good. Doesn't it automatically ground you, and it makes you feel loved and pure? So seek that. And that's all these things that we're running up against the wall are the things that are in dissonance with these tones. It's like, oh, you got to love mom, know whether she's angry or happy or blaming herself. Oh, you got to make her feel safe. You got to, because your safety is attached to her. Well, no, she never learned to have her own safety, so everybody's lost. Mm-hmm. So the sticky underbelly of what most of us will call to love. And I challenge anybody to look at it, because I grew up, I thought I had the best childhood in the world, and my parents didn't beat me, they didn't hurt me, they didn't sexually abuse me or whatever. But there's a codependence underneath it. And almost every family will have that, because it came from all the way up the lineage, things we don't talk about, things we don't do, things we don't we can't be too sexual. We don't talk about sexual organs. We don't do anything because it all lines up with traumas. So then when we go into the world and we're trying to interface with other people, we usually attract the people with the same trauma or
Yeah.
similar so that we can work through it, or the exact opposite a lot of ways. Cause I got my mother's trauma in my marriage, and I had to look at it and I had to look at it and I kind of had to look at it. And it took 51 years for me to find it. But I'm so blessed to be able to find it because it goes so far back up. I can feel the refreshingness or the collective thanks up the chain that says, okay, this is clear.
I just wish we had an ex, like a cousin or something that was doing the same thing as we were, so we weren't just the lone family member cleaning this up.
But could you do it unless that person was completely out of your energetic influence? It wouldn't be possible because they just project back on you unless you were at the exact same level. You could find a partner that was having, well, we're having very similar things, two different people, not as cousins or whatever, but you're seeing reflections of mine and I'm seeing reflections of yours. So they exist, but that's once again why we need to get the community together, where other people are willing to go to that same depth. Or maybe you're not quite at that same depth yet, and that other person is going from their experience and saying, this is what I found and this is what I felt. Because I had a long conversation with my ex-wife's boyfriend. They came for my birthday party and he was very triggered at the beginning. He's like looking at his watch. He's only been there for 10 minutes and I'm talking about all this stuff at a deep level. And then we had lunch in between and then we ate. And once he was more grounded, he was like, holy fuck. He says, this is really deep stuff, you know, and we're talking about religion and how it goes in. And all these things are all pulling at us to have this outward focus rather than our inward focus.
How long has your former spouse been with the boyfriend?
Got to be about 4 or 5 years. It was only about a year or two. I think it's been 7 years since my divorce. So probably 5 years. And he's very much like me, a lot of the same traumas and wounds and all that kind of stuff from parents. But he heard it and he says, holy fuck. He says, that's really deep. And when we got to the end, he acknowledged it. And we've discussed stuff here that will maybe make some people's relationships with their parents have to change.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't all good. It wasn't anybody did bad. It's just every person that I talk to, when we get deep enough, they have something similar.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you had no parents, which has a whole bunch of different issues, or you're in foster homes all throughout your life or whatever, there's some form of this that got composed into you before you were at the age of 8 and you don't even know it, whether it was religion or your parents or siblings that you were with. And then overimpose all your traumas and sexual abuses and then relationship traumas and stuff like that. It just creates this codependence. So just keep looking underneath, keep looking underneath, keep looking underneath. A lot of what's making you unhappy, you're not even aware of, and it's some codependent relationship. How do you get poked? I know some women, I've worked with several women where their mother was just like, once you got into her 60s, she was just like an absolute bitch. You can't do that, right? What the hell is wrong with you? All this kind of stuff. But it was the open-hearted oldest daughter that was just trying to please mom. And I'm coaching them. It's like, what's mom trying to do to you? She just puts a dagger into you 13 times each time you talk. And now you're like, oh, I got to please my mom or whatever. Well, mom's high on your freaking sadness.
Yeah.
And everybody's stuck there until mom gets out of withdrawal. Is she going to even be able to look at some of these things?
No, my mom's gotten crazier as time has progressed. Like it's gotten worse.
Well, but she wants to heal that. The energy is getting so heavy and you guys are less and less being codependent to it. So she has no choice.
Yeah.
Because she's not getting the hit anymore. She's having to deal with all the energy herself. You guys aren't carrying it anymore. Like I said, clear the lineage trauma over top of her, look at all the people above, and then sit down energetically and give her a choice to clear it as well. Because you have the power to be able to do it. You can see it all now. And she'll either take that choice or she won't take that choice, because some people chose to die with that choice.
what's crazy through this whole purification process is, like, at least for me, like the other day, like I was able to see through all the bullshit, like the programming that I was even in, the roles that I was playing in that cycle, on and on and on. And I was finally able to free the shackles. And
Mhm.
it's just crazy to be here today and to just see that's what I was in.
You know, state that it's not just you, it's
Right.
everybody.
It's everyone. But
Exactly.
for
So
my,
you made some choices, you saw through it, you saw the codependency, you saw the hooks and all these things, and you stepped back and observed and said, no. How simple was it?
simple, it only took a couple decades.
And it hurt and it suffered all the way through, right? But once you got to that point that you could see underneath what we're talking about, it was crystal clear. It's like, what the fuck? How, why did I let that happen?
Yes, and like you don't even realize it. It just seeps in and you just go with it like, oh, okay. All right.
But you weren't bad. You didn't do anything wrong. Every single person on this planet is dealing with that same thing. And now you just have to have compassion for yourself and say, okay, yeah, everybody had it. It's part of the awakening process.
Mhm.
It's not at the expense of the people that did it to us. It's like they're going to continue in that journey. And you can't shatter their reality tomorrow by taking that away, but you can keep stepping back further and further and further. And then it's like you're not even in that reality where that's even needed anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like with this whole shedding and purification,
Mhm.
like growing up, I was able to be quiet, just be a quiet kid. And then like people would call me out, like, why are you so quiet? Blah 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 blah. Like I'm like, oh, I guess I need to be someone that's not quiet. And so like, that transformed.
You're a good little girl. And all the way along, it's like kids have to be seen and not heard. Guess what? You're quiet. Oh, your opinion doesn't matter. Oh, you're whatever, right? And in Russian culture, is it there's even a bunch of programming there, right? That women are going to have the kids and look after the house or whatever. It's like old North American programming, but 40 years ago, right? When everybody was on a farm and it was just like the woman's place is to garden and raise the kids, right? Now it's a very different role.
But yeah, to close it down, this was very insightful as always, and I hope people find some sort of closure or connection or help.
New awareness.
New awareness.
Yeah. Because it's happening. And I hope this gets out to the right people and send it to anybody that you hear that's going on in their life. That it hopefully maybe it'll give them a few keys to work with. Maybe it'll make them mad. It's all part of the process before you choose yourself. And sometimes you got to get mad. You got to get really angry and seethe and scream and yell. Don't send it our way, but that's energy that needs to be released before you can be free. And it's part of the process. It hurts like hell. You'll maybe cry in bed, or you'll have to have a whole bunch of salt baths, or punch a pillow, or do all these things. But as you progress through the blame, you stop being a victim, and then you become in your power again. And that energy is taken back. And then you start self-loving yourself without any bypasses. I don't have to make anybody feel happy before I feel safe and I feel loved. And then a magic time happens because this little of reality comes, and then you're looking at it and you're saying, what the fuck is all this? Like, why is it that way? You're looking through this x-ray box, seeing underneath, and nobody's getting happy by those games and that twisted shit. It's just like a status quo of
Mm-hmm.
being not too hurt. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
So we've learned, we're getting better, and it's so crazy cool how our experiences are so similar, and I think other people are, and more people, I'd love to listen to this. As we get the community together and stuff, we're going to find people that are going to be able to hold us through all this kind of stuff, and we're going to get through it like bang 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 once the truth is exposed. And that's what community does. That's what we talk about. That's how we shine to others, right? So we thank you all for listening. We're doing our best to make these a little shorter so that it's not too taxing to get through it all. I realize people's lives are busy. And yeah, This was incredible. We'll look in again on Thursday. We're trying to do some on sexuality once in a while. Maybe Thursday will be a little more on sacred sexuality or awakening through sexuality stuff. And don't forget to tell us what you want, and we'll try and add it in. Or if you want to be live with us, come on down. You're the next contestant. So cool. Have a
Yeah.
great day. Thank you, Anya, and loving everyone. Thank you.